I would like to greet you all wholeheartedly and with affection.
Dünya Birinci ve İkinci Dünya Savaşlarının ardından yaşadığı en büyük
After the First
siyasi,
and Second World Wars,
ekonomik,
the world has
sosyal
been experiencing the
durumların
most important
sancıları
political,
içindeyiz.
economic, and military
Türkiye,
breaking
Birinci Cihan
points.
Harbi sonrası
After the
600
First World War,
asırlık devletinin yıkılışına şahitlik etmiş bir
Turkey
ülke.
is a country that witnessed the
Sırrla
collapse
bize
of
Anadolu'yu
its
bile çok görenlerin
600
elinden vatan topraklarının kalanını milli
year-old
mücadeleyle
state.
ancak
After
kurtarabildik.
serve, we could
İkinci
only
Dünya Savaşı sonrasında
save
ise
the remaining parts
hiçbir
of our
zaman
soil
içine tam olarak
with
almadığımız,
national
hep
independence. And after the
kenarında
Second World War,
tuttuğumuz
we have never been
yağcağılıkları
included into the
çevresinde
pacts,
dönüp durduk.
but
Bu
kept
süreçte
around them
siyasi ve
in their
ekonomik olarak
hypocrisy.
kendi
And in
yolumuzu
this
çizmeye
process,
her
politically and
köşemizde
economically, we tried
kendimize
to
darbeleri,
draw our own path,
istikrarsızlıkların
and every
gözlerinin içinde.
time we ended up in
Türkiye
crises, military
asırlık yolu 20
coups
yılda
or
kat
instabilities when we attempted.
Bu şekilde
However, Turkey
yürüyerek,
covered
düşünerek
a
ifade
road
ettiğimiz
of
büyük
100
demokrasi ve
years
kalkınma
in
hamlesi
only
sayesinde
20 years
nihayet
recently, and
kendi
thanks to
hedeflerini,
our great
kendi vizyonunu
development
belirleyip
movement,
ve
Turkey
yaşadığı
finally
kavuştu.
has
Altını bir
achieved
kez
a
daha
climate
çizerek belirtmek
in
istiyorum.
which it is able to
Türkiye
practice
artık
its own
siyasi ve
wills
güvenlik
and interests.
önceliklerini
I would like to
bizzat
underline that
kendisi
Turkey
tayin eden ve
do
uygulayabilen
does
bağımsız
decide
bir
on its
ülkedir.
political and
Türkiye
economic
artık kendi
priorities on
ekonomik
its
ve
own
sosyal
and is an
programlarla
independent
değiştirilen
state.
ve
Turkey is a
hayata
country that is able
geçirebilen
to develop its
güçlü
own
bir
social
ülkedir.
policies and
Türkiye
able to
artık
practice them. It is a strong
medeniyetle,
country, Turkey, and
tarihçesinden
now
farkına
is a
varmış.
country that is
Bunu
aware of
yönetimi,
its
insani koşulları
experience,
her
its
alanda
know-how
ortaya
of
koyabilen bir ülkedir.
history and
Ülkemize kazandırdığımız belki
civilization,
de
and
en
is a
etkili,
country that can stand its
milletimizin
ground
her bir
and tall.
ferdinin
And
hücrelerine kadar
this
sinen
way, this
özgüven
has gone down,
ve
gone
kararlılık
down to all
duygusudur.
cells
Geçtiğimiz hafta
of
Birleşmiş
our
Milletler'de
country and our
ülkemizin
people. Last week
uluslararası
at the
alandaki
UN,
resmi
the
adını
international
Türkiye'den Türkiye'ye
recognized name of our country was converted from Turkey into Turkey. And this is one of the recent symbols of our stance. Our own institutions, authorities, our people will now be proud to pronounce the name of their countries as Turkey. And now, in all our correspondence and all our state institutions will not be using a word such as Turkey, but they will be using the word Turkey. And we made our decision today in our presidential cabinet meeting, and this is now on the agenda completely of the UN. Until only yesterday, some said you cannot, but we did what they said we could not, and even much more than that. Until yesterday, they used to say you can't, but we achieved more, all of it, and even more than that. And we achieved all they said we could not bear, but we will continue to bear even more, because Turkey did rid the shackles put on its feet and collapsed the walls that was put in front of its future and in between its past, and has been standing its ground. We have been using the 1/4 of our national income for our people, and we increased the employment rates by 42%. And this way, while the whole world is enjoying the fake welfare system, we built our infrastructure and expanded the scope of our influence, and has made our country stronger. The main mandate supporters and those whose hearts and minds have been reset by the imperialists will only fall short to understand that. From the cross-border operations to discussions in NATO, from our economy program to our attitudes in the global arena, some do show the shortcomings of this grasping and its signals. But we know why we do and what we do. However, we know where we come from and where we go to. Our nation should be at ease. They should have no concern. Every price we pay, every challenge we endure, every load we bear will be worth it. And for that, a bright future is ahead of us. Every mileage we cover in the construction of a great and strong Turkey is a step towards bright futures of our children. As long as we keep safe our fraternity, our brotherhood, our unity and togetherness, as long as we give no way to the opportunists, we will see that our 2023 vision is not a discourse said in vain, but a truth we have been nearing more and more every passing day. My great nation, those who do not have a dream for their nation cannot determine on a vision and chase after their dreams. Our dreams, our visions, and our goals are to ensure that our people live in a prosperous, safe, and secure future. When we announced our 2023 goals 11 years ago, some criticized and some did also showed some similar behaviors even today for our 2053 goals. However, we did not choose these figures randomly. On the contrary, we carefully choose them. The 53 vision we set now are going on with all meticulous acts we have. Yesterday, due to the World Environment Day, June 5, with its air, soil, trees, and air, the world, this universe we enjoy, has been now reminded to us all as God blessed us with this. And we have been preparing our preparations very rapidly and continuously convert them into plans, programs, and practices. Even though some do have some room meetings for environment and do fire up streets, we, on the other hand, try to deliver services and undertake in many services to leave a much greener environment for our people, our children. With the climate change, hurricanes, storms, and fires increase in number, while we leave a country to our next generations that is safe. The preserved area in our country, for example, over the past years has increased by 12%, and on top of our natural beauties, these acts have been serving as umbrellas, if you will, for 81 provinces and 81 million square meter of national garden. Construction project has been initiated, and Atatürk Airport Nation's Garden Project is one of those projects. In the Black Sea, the Kızılırmak Delta, in Ege, Foça, in the Mediterranean, all the way to Salda Lake, we have been working on our projects and have concentrated on those. Our goals is to make sure that a squirrel will be able to travel across Anatolia without facing any difficulty as he jumps and walks freely and easily, as Evliya Çelebi said, with many roads, projects, highways, and forestry areas. We increased the life quality of our people. When we became party to the Paris Climate Convention, we have been acting with a perspective that will be protecting the needs and interests of the oppressed. And our 2023 53 goal at its core has our activities to fight against climate change. We convened our climate convention, and we met as a council, and we made our preparations for climate change, from energy to solar, renewable and wind energy sources. We have been investing more and more. In industry, we have been taking actions to support clean technologies that will reduce the emissions. In transportation, we are expanding the clean transportation area, and railway and seaway transportation is encouraged for. In agriculture, for eco-friendly and agriculture-friendly methods, we take actions. In waste treatment, we aim to increase the recycling and recovering rates to 60%. In housing, we make preparations for possible earthquakes and offer more safe, secure, and healthy settlement areas for our people. We do expand the areas of forests, their surface areas, and this way we ensure carbon stability. In science and technology, from our universities to our research centers, we have been mobilizing all our means to the green mobilization movement. In trade, to make sure that the green gas emissions are reduced, we have established systems, and for our private sector, we offer new opportunities. In finance, we do make investments, support those investments for clean investment projects, and contribute to make sure our country is one of the most attractive investment hubs. In natural disasters, the damage or the loss that our citizens had to endure, we do compensate very rapidly. In education, our green transformation movement will also be reflected into the curricula for the next education years to come. In local governments, we expand the scope of the liabilities and responsibilities of our municipalities and take steps to facilitate their actions. With our climate ambassadors, we do educate our young people as experts of climate and include them into the climate transformation projects and create new sectors and new areas of employment. At our central headquarters, the Turkey model vision document for fighting against climate change, the preparations of which have been made, is also not neglected. All of these items and even more of those will be shared with further details when the time is due. So let some others lie and slander, manipulate, and act in treason to the interests of their own country and disrupt the dreams of their own people. We, on the other hand, will continue working with our youth to shape our 2053 goal. Turkey will achieve its 2053 goals, and Turkey will always have the determination and belief to materialize its 2053 goals, and the rest will be graced by God and appreciated by our people. In the construction of a great and strong Turkey, those citizens who stand with us deserve special gratitude, and I would like to extend my gratitude to them. those who
evladımıza şu
are
yollarımızı veriyoruz.
candidates, if you will,
İstiklalimiz
to
ve istikbalimiz
shape
yolunda
their own
zerre
future, and
miskal
not by
katkısı
the
olan
guidance
her
of
bir
the others, but on
kardeşimize
their own,
şükranlarımı sunuyorum.
deserve special thanks. And I
Bütün bu
would like to
projelerin
extend
hayata
my deepest
geçmesinde
gratitude to
emeği,
each and every one of
katkısı
them who are
ve
willing. Also,
bakanlıklarımızı,
I would like to thank to
kurumlarımızı,
every institution,
belediyelerimizi,
authorities,
sivil toplum
ministries,
kuruluşlarımızı,
NGOs,
özel
municipalities,
sektörümüzü
private
tekrar
sector,
tebrik ediyorum.
who have
Aziz
all
milletim,
contributed to this end.
Türkiye'nin geldiği
My
yol,
great nation, the path
özellikle
Turkey
bir yol
has
ayrımı
been
olarak
traveling
kabul
on,
edilecek olursa,
if you
en
do
çok
deem it
tartışmaya
as
sebep
a
olan
path
tercihi
to be separated,
şüphesiz
then
ekonomik
you
programı
should,
olmuştur.
with no doubt,
Bütün
reckon
dünyaları
that the most
faiz,
controversial one was the
enflasyon,
economy program.
kur ilişkisi
Inflation,
üzerine
interest
kurulu
rate,
kabullerden
and
ibaret olan kesin
currency, foreign
inançlar
currency,
ülkemizin
are
yatırım,
the issues
istihdam,
that some only
üretim,
take into
ihracat,
account.
cari fazla
However, they
yoluyla
are
büyüme
not able
stratejisini
to
anlamaya
see and
bile
understand the growth
çalışmıyorlar.
strategy of our country, which is based on
Halbuki bizim ekonomideki
employment,
programımızın
investment,
esasını
export,
milli
investment,
mücadelemizi de
and
zafere
current account
ulaştıran
surplus.
batı müdafaa yoktur,
However, we
satı müdafaa
have
vardır
the defense
stratejisi
of our whole
oluşturuldu.
country, not the defense of our borders
Enflasyon bir
only,
sorundur.
as this is
Evet,
reflected
sorundur.
in our economy as well.
Ama
Is
Türkiye'nin
inflation a problem?
sorunlarının
Yes, it
esas
is a
sebebi
problem, but the
ve
main
çözüm
reason,
yolu
main
tek
root
başına
causes of
bu
the
başta.
problems of Turkey
Kesinlikle
is that
değildir.
exactly is not
Eğer öyle
that
olsaydı
only.
geçmişte sayısız
If it
defa
were,
uygulanan
then in the
bir kısmı
past,
da başarıya ulaşan enflasyonla mücadele
some
merkezli ekonomik
inflation
programları
fight
sayesinde
centered
ülkemiz
economy
tüm
programs
sorunlarını çözmüş
could
oldu.
have solved all the problems of
Teşhis
our
yanlış
country.
olunca
However, if the
tedavi de
diagnosis is
istenilen
wrong, then
neticeyi
the
vermez.
treatment will not be
Gerçi
bearing
ülkemizde
the
bizim programımıza
consequences
kadar
aimed
bu
for.
teşhisin
And
kasıtlı
in
olarak
our
yanlış
country,
konduğu
this
ve yine
diagnosis
kasıtlı
was
olarak yanlış
purposefully
tedavilerin
misdone,
uygulandığı da
and
bir
also
gerçektir.
purposefully
Türkiye
mistreatments
ekonomisini
were practiced in
belli
the
bir
past,
çizginin
and it is a
üzerine
reality.
çıkartmayarak
By not
yüksek faizle
bringing Turkish
soyulacak kadar
economy
geri,
to a certain
üretimle
level,
ayağa
there were
kalkamayacak
those
kadar halsiz
who
bırakacak
left our
programlarla
country with
yıllarımız
programs
heba edildi.
that made our country even
Aslında kısır
unable
döngünün
to
ilk
stand up,
adımı
and years
enflasyon
were wasted
tanımıyla
for
başladı.
that. Indeed, the definition of
Batı'nın
this vicious
ekonomi
circle starts with the
mecralarına
definition of an
göbek bağıyla
inflation.
tabi olanlara göre enflasyon,
According to
insanların
some
ve
who
kamunun
are
aşırı
affiliated with the
tüketiminden
West
kaynaklanır.
with their umbilical
Bu
cords,
sorunun
define
çözümü de
inflation as
faizleri
excessive
artırarak parayı
consumption of
tasarruf
good.
araçlarına
And for
yönlendirmek
solution,
suretiyle
they aim
tüketimi
to increase
azaltmak
the interest
ve
rates
böylece
and reduce
fiyatları
the consumption,
düşürmek
and
olarak
this way
sunulur.
reduce the prices. This is
Peki
how they present
para
it.
kazanan kim?
However, who wins
Yüksek
here?
faizle cebi dolan
With high interest
içerideki bir
rates, there are
avuç
some who fill
nüfus
their
grubu.
pockets as a
Onlarla
bunch of
birlikte yükselen
privileged
faizlere
ones,
ve
and with
değerlenen
them,
liraya heveslenerek dışarıdan gelen
there are
sıcak para
those
sahibi
who
olanlar var.
have hot money,
Elbette
funds,
ucuzlayan
who
döviz
have hot money
sebebiyle
coming from abroad.
ülkeyi yabancı
And of
tüketim
course, due
ürünlerinin
to
pazarı
the
haline
low
getiren
currency,
ithalatçıları da
the
bu
importers
arada
that turn our
unutmamak
country
lazım.
into the market
Peki
of the
kaybeden kim?
goods they import from outside
Üretimin
should
düşmesi
not be
sebebiyle
forgotten. But then
işsiz
who
ve
loses
açsız
due
kalan,
to
umutları
lowering,
törpülenen,
decreasing
gelecekleri kararan
inflation?
milyonlar.
It is the
Biz
millions
tercihimizi
whose futures
faizleri
are
içsel
darkened, who
baskısıyla
lose.
bir kez daha
And
Türkiye'yi
we
soymak için ellerini ovuşturanlardan değil,
are not those
istihdamı koruyarak
who will
işini,
be
başını, geçimini sürdürmesini
only
sağladığımız milyonlardan yana kullandı. Hele ki dünyanın içinden geçtiği
caring for
bu
their own
ekonomik buhrandan
interests,
tercihi
but we made our
üretimden ve
choices for the
istihdamdan
good
değil
of
de
the millions.
finansal illüzyonlardan yana
Those
kullanmak,
who make
ülkeyi
their
emperyalist
choices
mandacılara peşkeş
for
çekmek
financial illusions
kesinlikle
or
hayırdır. Bunu da yutmayacağız. Bunlar hadi bizi dinlemiyorlar. Hadi bize inanmıyorlar.
making
Değilse
making presents available
kendi
for the
ideolojik
imperialists
hedeflerine
will never
kullanabilir.
be cared for or given credence
Uluslararası
to.
kuruluş başkanları
They
bile
should at least
açıkça
care
enflasyonla
for what
ve
their
faizle ilgili
controllers
ezberlerin
say. Even
bozulması
the
gerektiğini söylüyor.
chairpersons of
Dünya
international financial
genelinde
institutions say
halihazırda
that
136
disruptions
ülkenin
need to be
merkez
made about
bankası
interest
enflasyon
rates.
oranlarının
Now,
altında
more than
faiz politikası uyguluyor.
126 countries' central
Buna
banks
rağmen
do
Türkiye için
apply interest rate policies that are low. And despite that, there are some who do insist on the old and vicious equations of interest calculations. And if this is not related with desperation, it is then related with their inability to grasp. However, in our country, we do not have a problem of inflation, yet an excessive price increase. And to be able to call this inflation, the budget should go out of control. That is not manageable. However, over the past 19 years, the thing that we show the most sensitivity to is the budget discipline. And our citizens also can manage their own budgets very well. The private pension system. In our private pension system, we have an amount of more than 300 billion. And the individual private foreign currency accounts has exceeded a figure of 130 billion. And with housing investments and also with the import vehicle fleet that is worth of more than 170 billion, our people now have better welfare. And the number of the people who have their cars, who own cars and their own homes and apartments has increased by three folds. And the amount that people keep at home has come to the figure of $150 billion almost. So in terms of savings, our people do not have a problem. If this is the case about the savings, do we now encounter a disaster in our debts? No, on the contrary, we are in a very good position there. Just like the public debts, the debts of our citizens and also private sector will be compared to the other countries, and when compared, we see that it's much less. Houses, vehicles, and gold, like a real asset-based savings, will never be causes for a crisis, as this is not related with the derivatives market. We do see that picture very clearly, and that's why we know the diagnosis, and we have changed the treatment from scratch. We will not make the poor poorer or rich richer by increasing the interest rates. So impositions of the imperialist finance institutions and their recipes were kept aside. Instead, we have concentrated on investment, employment, production, export, and current account surplus, which is all related with our own economy program based on growth. Now let's come to the most critical question. This program. There are some who hurt our people, made their lives difficult, and also decreased their life quality. This is related with the excessive price increases. The price increase would only take place because of lack of production or excessive demand. However, the budget deficit or the saving shortcomings are not related with the level of debts we have. Then we can now talk about a price increase based on demand increase. When it comes to production, thanks be to God, there is no challenge we cannot overcome. Then, where is the problem stemming from? The problem, on one side of the problem, we know that some of our citizens still keep their savings in foreign currency, insistingly. And on the other side of the problem, we see the inputs and also the expanding global networks of our growing companies and foreign currency demand needed relevantly. That's why we offered our citizens special foreign currency and gold accounts, and also ensured systems and offered alternatives to our systems that will help them move their amounts to alternative instruments. We do support tourism and export, and also make sure that foreign currency flow into our country. be speeded up through new methods. Our exporters almost every month do break records, and annually
1,6 milyar dolarlık rakama ulaşarak
they achieve a
sağ
figure of
olsunlar kendilerine olan
$242.6
güvenimizi
billion
boşa çıkarmıyorlar.
monthly, and they
Enerji fiyatlarındaki
also prove
fahiş
uh,
artışları
right
ithalatımızda
the
yol açtığı
trust we have
bozulmayı
in them.
bir kenara bıraktığımızda
If we leave
fiilen
aside
cari fazlaya geçtiğimizi
certain
söyleyebiliriz.
instabilities, we can say that we have moved to
Karadeniz'de
current
keşfettiğimiz
account
doğalgaz
surplus, actually.
yerli ve
With the
yenilenebilir
natural gas we
enerji
discovered in the Black
yatırımlarımızın
Sea, the
çıktıları
local and
sisteme
renewable
eklenecek. Bu
energy
tablo
outputs
deyimse
will be further
düzelmeye
added into our
başlayacak.
system, and the more,
Gelişmiş
the better
ülkelerin
the picture
tamamında
will be
ödemeler
for our
dengesinde
favor. In
çok ağır
almost all
sancılar
the
yaşanırken
developed countries, in
biz
terms of balance of payments, very great sufferings are
bu
taking place,
ülkelerin
but we
Merkez Bankası
are in a
bilançoları
much better position.
neredeyse
The
milli
balance sheets
gelirlerinin
of the central banks in those
%40'ına dayanıyor.
countries has been corresponding
Banka
to almost
aktifleri
40% of
milli
their
gelirlerini kat be kat aşan bu ülkelerin
national incomes,
bize
and the
sürekli dayatılan
assets of their
faiz
banks do go
artışlarından
multiple
dehşet
times
uzaklık
higher
aramanın
than they
sebebi
have. And the
resesyona
reason they do run
kaybolduğunda
away
bundan oluyor.
from that is their fear
Kimse bizden şunu
to go
beklemez.
into a recession. Nobody
Bu
should
iktidar
expect us
faizci
one
artıracak.
thing. This government
Tam
will not
aksine
be increasing
biz
interest rates.
faizi
On the
düşürmeye
contrary, we
devam
will
edeceğiz.
continue decreasing the
Gelişmiş
interest
ülkelerin
rates.
hiçbiri bu
None
aşamada
of the developed
faizleri
countries in
enflasyona
this
göre olması
stage
gereken seviyelere yükselterek
has
cari
done
açık
that,
vermiyor.
and
Dolayısıyla devasa
they
işsizlik
have a current
sorunlarıyla
account
karşı karşıya
deficits
gelme
instead,
riskine
and have the
girmez,
risk
giremez.
of unemployment. And no country,
Sayın
indeed,
Başkan,
can
niçin
take
faiz
such a risk.
düşürmekten bahsediyoruz?
So why are you talking
Benim
about
derdim şu.
decreasing the interest rates,
Bu
Mr.
ülkede
President? You may wonder. My
yatırımcı
concern is that in this
birinci
country,
derecede
the
kamu bankalarıyla
investors with
buna
the
eğer özel
first
sektör bankaları
level
da dahil olursa
public
özel
banks,
sektör
and if
bankalarıyla
we
da
include the private
düşük
banks, with
faizle
private banks as well,
sağladığı krediyle
should
ne
have
yapsın?
credit lines
Yatırıma girsin.
offered with low
Mevcut
interest rates,
yatırımlarını
so
daha
that
da
they can
genişletsin,
invest, and they can
genişletsin.
in this way expand the scope of their
Bununla
current
istihdam sağlayalım.
investments, and this
Bununla
way we
üretimi
will have
artıralım.
further employment
Bununla
and further
ihracatı daha da
production
artıralım.
and further
Ve
export
bununla
volumes,
elbette
and
iyiliği
with
sağlayalım.
this we will ensure
Bizden bu.
growth. This is what
Bu
matters
oldukça
for us, and
işsizlik
as long as
yapacak
we have that, then
daha da
unemployment, just
azalacak.
like it is today, will
Dünya milli
decrease.
gelirinin %70'ini oluşturan
70%
bu
of
ülkelerin
the
yaşadığı
world
sancılar farklı
national
olarak herkesi
income
etkiliyor.
is
Çin ve Japonya'nın parasal
in
genişleme
those
ve
countries,
faiz
and
indirimine gitmelerinin paralarına bilinçli
China
olarak
went down
değer
to
kaybettirmelerinin
decreasing of
sebebi
interest rates,
bu
and the
fırtınadan
reason for them to
kaçmak.
devalue value
Gelişimdeki
their
20 yılın
currency
%102
is
ve
because of
beşeri
their
hasılatı
intentions
bu
to
sürece
avoid
giren Türkiye
such
ise
crises.
fiyatlardaki
And
fahiş
Turkey
artışların
also
yol
has
açtığı
entered into
sıkıntılara
this
rağmen
process with
kendi
awareness, and
programıyla
despite the
hedefe doğru
challenges of the
ilerlemeyi
price increases,
sürdürüyor.
continues to walk towards its
Bütçe
goals.
gerçekleşmelerimiz
Our
mevcut
budget
alanda yaptığımız
realization,
ciddi vergi indirimlerine ve enerji
thanks to
ödemeleri
a
kaynaklı
significant
tüm
tax
sapmalara rağmen
reduction,
gayet
and
iyi sürdürüyor.
despite some
Ülkemizin zaten
divergences,
sınırlı olan
is
kaynaklarını
in a very good
doğrudan
position.
üreticilere,
The
istihdamı
limited
artıran
resources of our
sanayicilere,
country is shared with
ihracatçılara,
the
turizmcilere,
exporters, tourism
yatırımcılara,
people,
esnaf ve
investors,
sanatkarlarımıza aktararak
craftsmen, and
çok yönlü
small shop
faydalar
owners,
sağlıyor.
and we do share all these with them
Aslında
and offer
hemen
many
yanı başımızda
benefits
bir
that
sıcak çatışma
are
patlak vermeseydi,
multi-oriented. Indeed,
salgın
if
sonrası bu
a hot
aylarda
conflict had
herkesinden
not
insanımız
erupted just
programımızın somut
next to
faydalarını
us, then our
hayatında bizzat
people would
görmeye
have
başlamış
seen
olurdu.
actually the concrete
Biraz
benefits
gecikmeyle de
of
olsa
our plan
inşallah
in their lives.
önümüzdeki yılın ilk
Actually,
aylarından
even though
itibaren
with
bu
some
noktaya
delay,
geleceğiz.
we will be coming
En
to
büyük
this point with
hassasiyetimiz
desire
istihdamı
as of
koruyarak
the first months of the
ücretlilerin
next
gelir
year. Our
kaybını telafi
biggest
ederek
aim is to
fırsatçıların
preserve the
önünü keserek
employment rates
insanlarımızın
and
üzerlerine
compensate for
kalıcı
income
yükler
loss
binmesine
blocked away
engel olmak.
for the opportunists, and
Fiyatları izahı
prevent
mümkün olmayan bir
heavy
şekilde
loads on
artan
the
ürün
shoulders of
ve
our people.
üretimini
The production of
teşvik
the products
ve
that
tedarikini
will
kolaylaştırarak stokçuların oyunlarını
be
bozacağız.
on the rise
Kriz
in their
tellallarının
prices
bırakılabilecek
continuously.
bir yerde
will be prevented, and we will be upsetting, frustrating the games of those opportunists. And these figures currently do also indicate that some aim to create a panic. The financial stability, about financial stability, we do not have a significant problem when it comes to price stability. All the measures we take as well with the currency level that works to our good will be added with a current account surplus, and we this way look at the issue. And we have made a lot of interventions that will increase employment and export, and some of them are actually in operation, and some of them have been decided on, and principal mechanisms are being established, and for some others we are negotiating. On one hand, we will be stopping the price increases, and on the other, we will be addressing all the income loss of all sections of our society, and we will be supporting all with such macro steps, and continue practicing our own programs. And yesterday, for the procurement prices of wheat and barley, we made some announcements, and this is an indicator of the support we have. And I also will be talking about some details regarding the additional index for public officers, civil servants, and we will be keeping our promises. The inflation difference increases in July will also ease the burden on those who work with contracts. And in the following months, we will be reviewing everything in line with the economic developments and make sure that everyone is delivered with what their rights are. We will be expanding the area that our social umbrella cover, and we will not allow any oppression for our people. So the principle that goes as make the humans live, so the state lives on, will be in practice in this challenging time as well. The Minister of Treasury and Finance, and as well our economy committee will continue practicing our economy programs, and the opportunists who are trying to grab some logs in the face of a flood will only be judged by our nation. At the end of our cabinet meeting, we also shared talked about some issues I would like to share with you. As I said before, the regulations regarding the additional index for our civil servants has now been completed in its preparations, and it has been brought to a level, a phase, which will make it possible for us to present it to the parliamentary. For school teachers, for police officers, healthcare professionals, and religious affairs civil servants, we made promises to bring their income levels to and in accordance with the additional index of 36. And we saw that this would disrupt maybe the hierarchical balance. Even though we push our limits, we will make a sacrifice to the favor of public officers, and we will increase 600 base points for the additional index. 5.3 million public officers as of the beginning of the next year will be benefiting from this regulation. And with this regulation coming into effect, all professional groups we made promises for will be able to brought to their professional level of 3600, and for the general managers it will be 4400, and for the administrators the additional index will be brought to 3000 from 2200. So this additional index regulation will also make sure there is an increase in their salaries, even though minor increases, but more importantly, it will be bringing about a lot of benefits for their pensions. If I am to give you an example, those who have served 30 years and whose additional index is 3600, their salaries will increase by more than 1,000. For their pensions, it will be increasing as well. According to the current salaries, these amounts are calculated, and these amounts will be even higher with the new regulations coming into effect with the beginning of the new year. Of course, these salary increases will be reflected onto the salaries of all public officers in duty, starting with the administrators, uh, such as local authorities. Another improvement will be made within the framework of this regulation, and I hope that this additional index regulation will be auspicious for our public officers, our civil servants, our people, our country. Another important development is related with our actions of reforms that go uninterruptedly to increase the level of welfare for our people. We also will present it to the Parliament. With the legal strategy reform package, which has 24 items, we will make amendments for 10 articles. A 3-year fundamental education will be offered for um, legal practitioners, so people will be able to claim their titles after theoretical and practical studies. Considering the legal problems and challenges ongoing in the world, it will be bringing about significant changes for reconciliations. With this new regulation, our judges and prosecutors will be educated in the best way, and if you will, with the method of apprentice and master, they will be brought up for their new tasks by the seasoned professionals. The judges and prosecutors will also be added to the first-class professionalism, and they will be mandatorily participating to at least 3 workshops. The Board of Judges and prosecutors and also auditors of the Ministry of Justice will also be included in this. With this regulation to be done for notary services, the notary services will be speeded up, and in this way there will be also some authorities to place annotations for title deeds and carry immovables. We will also have much effective methods to fight against stockpiling. With this new legal package, I hope we will have auspicious results for our people, for our country, and for our legal people and our jurisdiction judicial system. Within the framework of work to reduce our foreign dependency to energy, we attach great importance to energy productivity. The stock in our country, by a major degree is isolated, and it leads to unnecessary use of energy for heating and cooling houses. To increase the number of the houses, apartments that are insulated properly, we have a new study ongoing for each apartment up to 50,000 liras with 60 months of due dates, and also with an 0.99% of interests. Credit lines will be offered, and of course the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, the Ministry of Environment and Urbanization will have a lot of responsibility to shoulder, because we have to achieve that. This will contribute to the family budgets as well as the state budget, and I believe this package and its relevant details will be announced to our people by the relevant ministries as soon as possible, and I hope that this will also be auspicious for our people. Another good news is about the social assistance. Last year, almost 98 billion lira worth of social assistance was offered to all citizens in need. And this way, our social assistance budget will be further strengthened with additional programs. And our aim is to make sure that the growing Turkey's means are shared with all sections of the society. And this way, we will be offering many means to families who are economically disadvantageous, and we will be allocating a new package of 15 billion liras. And this way, our citizens will have the access to this new package over electronic state practices and applications, and also relevant authorities as of the third week of June. Throughout 1 year, the payments will be made, and the first payment will be made before the Eid. And this Turkey family assistance, family support program, hopefully will be auspicious for our people, for our citizens, for the next education year, for the kindergartens or schools. We will have another assistance program. And with this, the families that have benefited from the opportunities of the social benevolence or foundations, organizations will be able to have their children enrolled to these schools. The kindergarten school program will also hopefully be auspicious for our parents and for all citizens of this country. I would like to thank you all very much. Stay in health.
Hayırlı akşamlar.